Welcome back to the Samantha Show. I'm your host, Samantha. You can call me Sam. Just don't call me Sammy. Look, I'm sporting this USA Team T1D, type 1 diabetes. I got this when I got to help MC the JDRF, now known as Breakthrough T1D Gala, back in May. They made me this cute jacket because it was Olympic themed at the gala, and I'm still riding the high of the Olympics. My mom sent me this meme last night about what it's like to go through the Olympic withdrawal now that they have come and gone. And I related to it so deeply. And I'm not a big sports person, but I feel like, it's so much fun getting to watch the Olympics and to get to cheer on Team USA and just watch these incredible athletes compete and do these amazing things. So I had so much fun. So I'm sporting this little Olympic T1D Team USA jacket here today. My alarm clock went off this morning, and it was one of those mornings where I was like, no, I want to go back to bed. But I had made plans to go down to Shred 415 and do a workout this morning. I do all my workouts in the morning. Typically, that is my routine. And it got me thinking about discipline. Look, this episode, it's going to be a little bit of a tough love episode, okay? Not really, but I want to talk about discipline. Discipline is so necessary to achieve your goals. So we're just watching the Olympics. You think these athletes, hit snooze? They don't hit snooze. Heck no. They are disciplined human beings with goals, and they work their tail off to make their dreams a reality, to achieve their goals. And you can't achieve your goals without discipline. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of discipline today, because I think when we hear discipline, we think it's this rigid, no room for fun, nothing spontaneous, like very structured day. And that's really not the case. There are aspects of discipline that are true with that. But as someone who has a lot of fun in her life, I also consider myself a very disciplined person, especially when it comes to me achieving my goals, which is why I believe I've found a lot of success in achieving my goals because of my ability to stay disciplined. And if I'm going to mention T1D, I actually would even credit my living with type 1 diabetes really setting me up for more structure and routine in my life, which has allowed me then to take that into other aspects of my life. But when we look at discipline, so discipline is this idea of controlling your actions, controlling your behaviors, and controlling aspects of your emotions to achieve a specific goal or desired outcome in some aspect of your life. It's not this like harsh self-denial of things all the time. When we look at discipline, a lot of times what comes to mind is the idea of health and wellness, dieting, exercise, working out. And it's like immediately in the mind, we go to this like, I can never have anything good to eat if I'm going to be disciplined. Like I can never have crumble cookie, or I can never have chicken wings, or I have to work out 6 days a week all the time, and they have to be super intense, and all this like negative stuff is like we start checking out before we've even tapped in to potentially setting up new routines and consistency in our life. So let's talk about the importance of discipline. It really, if you have goals, if you have something that you're working toward, there has to be an aspect of routine consistency and discipline, because when we set a goal for ourselves, there is the excitement of setting the goal, right? Like if you say, oh, I want to do this, I'm going to achieve this. There's a lot of excitement around embarking on that new journey and diving in to starting to work your way toward what it is that you want. That's the excitement of starting something new. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I start so many new things. It just gets very exciting for me. The problem is most journeys and achieving goals and achieving dreams takes a long time. And what happens is the motivation, the excitement that you feel when you start on a new journey, it fades. It wears off. I remember this. if you haven't listened to it yet, go back to, I got 2 episodes where I interview this guy named Jordan Vega. He did 1,000 pull-ups for every single day last year. So he ended up with like over 404,000 pull-ups total for the year last year. Insane, right? And I remember talking to him about, and you can listen back to these episodes. There's 2 different episodes about this pull-up challenge that he did. And there's the excitement at the beginning, like where he's like, yeah, I'm doing this. He achieves his first goal of a certain amount of pull-ups in a month, but his next goal marker is not for 6 months for then. And then that's a lot of like downtime and like trekking along. And all of a sudden the excitement, the buzz from the outside, it wears off because a year's a long time. So until we get to the finish line, it's this like quiet dead zone, right? Where you have to be disciplined. Jordan Vega was so disciplined to be able to do 1,000 pull-ups every day. Right now, this is a very extreme example, but my point being, we start a journey, we start a goal. It's exciting. It's fun. Boom. We got the energy. We got the motivation. But when that buzz and that excitement wears off for yourself and maybe the people around you who are like cheering you on initially, what keeps you going? Your discipline, your routine, your consistency. That's what keeps you going. And so that's why it's so important with any goal that you set for yourself or with anything that you're trying to achieve. So how do you start to set this up for yourself? Okay, Sam, so I need to do it, but like it's hard. It is hard. Like it's hard to work towards something big and to convince yourself that it's worth it when it feels like it's so far away. Like that can be very challenging when the ultimate payoff is a long ways away. So it's good to set really clear goals that provide direction and purpose throughout this journey for you, whatever it may be. And they should be actionable and they should start to roadmap toward the big ultimate goal. So you're biting off these little bits. What small changes can I make every single day? I've talked about this on previous episodes. When you're starting to work on something or work toward a goal, don't set these huge outlandish goals that you're not going to be able to maintain. Right? So if you're like, I've talked about this, I'm going to give up all sugar, totally, all of it, cold turkey. Like, I mean, if you want to do that, you can do that. But like, let's start a little smaller so we don't get burnt out. If we're just trying to make some dietary changes, or for example, for me, I've been really trying to practice my walking in heels. And so it started for me, it was like, look, put the heels on your feet at least every day. Just put your shoes on. That was for me, working on my walk for state first and then nationals. It was put the heels on. Just, it doesn't matter if I'm practicing walking or I'm doing dishes or whatever. Just make sure the shoes are on my feet at some point during the day, right? I can do that. So that was a lot more obtainable for me in my mind than saying I have to walk 20 minutes every single day. Because initially I was like, okay, I'm going to walk 20 minutes every single day. And the first week I was like falling short on that because I was just busy and I couldn't. So I changed the goal to just put the shoes on every single day at some point during the day. And that was so much easier for me. And then too, once they were on, when I was walking from one room to the next, whether I was going to get laundry or going to do this or that, then I could start to practice. So clear, obtainable goals that are realistic. The other thing that can be really helpful when you're starting to find your discipline, find your pace, is a really well-structured routine. Oh, she's a routine girl. Because when you start to set a routine, then it becomes a habit, then it just becomes a part of your daily life. That's the beautiful thing. That's like the ultimate goal when setting up and finding discipline and consistency in your routine is, can you make it part of just the daily habits that you have? This is big for me with working out. I know what days of the week I work out. It is like for sure lately, the way things are going is like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like I have my routine at Shred. That's when I go. And those routines so important to me. And when it's that routine, it helps when that alarm clock goes off. I'm like, this is just part of my routine. I get up, I go here. My routine as well is so structured in how the morning goes. Like I get out of bed, I change my clothes, brush my teeth, whatever, go downstairs. I drink my little morning detox drink with lemon juice and apple cider vinegar. I make up my half peanut butter. Like it's so regimented, that morning routine for me, but it makes it mindless. It's just what I do. And that makes it easier for me to stick to because it's automatic at this point. So when you can add in these aspects of working towards your goal in a way that become mindless and automatic, it's easier to stay consistent with that. I used to say in all my cycle bar classes, one of my favorite overused phrases was small changes, big results. Small changes, big results. And that's true when it comes to your daily habits. Are they aligning with what it is that you're working toward? It can be helpful when you're trying to set up a new routine and you're trying to stick to these goals and you're trying to stay disciplined, to have that accountability. And there's so many great resources from Facebook groups or who you connect with online, but even to in person. And this is big for me with my workouts. And obviously, discipline you can use discipline to achieve your goals in different realms. I'm going to talk a lot about fitness goals and health related goals because that's the industry that I'm in, but this is true and applicable regardless of the goal that you're working toward. But like for me, when it comes to fitness and my discipline in my workouts, having those connections and relationships, group fitness for me is really important. I was talking to somebody about this the other day because we were talking about she really likes to go to the gym by herself, which I fully respect. I like to go to group classes because for me, there's a level of accountability there at the group classes. There are people I know I'm going to see, people I know I'm going to talk to. And this can be true at work, or if you're working on a work project or you have to go in, or you're whatever that may be, having that accountability or people that you can fall back in, or someone maybe who's walking the journey with you. So you guys can kind of hold yourself accountable. That community piece of what we do can really be instrumental in helping you find that discipline and keep going when it gets hard, when you want to tap out, when that motivation starts to die off. And it makes it more fun. Fun. She always has fun. Coffee break. To my point at the beginning of the show, you got to be flexible even when you're disciplined. There has to be fun and flexible. If you're not, it's not sustainable, it's not manageable, and then you're not even happy. And then we don't even enjoy the journey. You wouldn't even go down the enjoy the journey speech again because I will. But you have to be fun, you have to be flexible. It doesn't have to be dull. So you can incorporate fun things into your routines. You can incorporate little rewards or ways to change things up every single day. So one thing for me, I've been working on this pageant journey, and discipline around my diet has been really big. I'm not trying to lose a bunch of weight or anything. I'm just trying to maintain, and also just try not to bloat, mess up my GI system. We're getting older. That's things upset my tummy all the time. So I've had to be really disciplined and consistent with my diet. And what I was running into, I wasn't thinking much because I like routine and consistency. I was eating the same thing every single day just because it was easy for me. It was mindless. However, I realized I was hitting a brick wall in boredom, and I just can't eat chicken and rice anymore. I just cannot eat that anymore. And, my dietitian, she's like, we got to change it, girl. You got to change it. She's like, you have meal options, because she gives me a bunch of different options. I just don't take them because I'm again, it's easier for me mindlessly just to create the same thing again and again, because I do like that routine. But I realized I was running into then boredom and not mixing it up. So as soon as I started to play with my other meal options that she had given me to change it, I was still being disciplined and consistent when I was eating, but then it got me kind of out of that rut of I don't think I can go on. So finding ways to change things up in your routine that are still getting you closer towards your goal, but allowing for some kind of variety when it comes to the fitness aspect of things, again, a big focus here on health and wellness, fitness, exercise, diet, because that's my niche. But do you need to change up your workout? Do you need to do something different? You're doing the same workout every day and you're having trouble waking up because it's boring to you and you're not interested in going? Go try something else. So how can you make it fun for yourself? Can you come up with rewards? She loves a reward system. What can you treat yourself with? Can you agree that you're going to go take yourself to Target if you hit your step goal every single day this week? Can you tell yourself you're going to get a special iced coffee on Friday if you hit your water goal every single day? Like whatever that looks like for you, whatever aspect of rewards that you can make it fun. You can also like turn it into a game. Can you give yourself points? I have this app called Habit Tracker, and you can create these different habits and then you check it off each day when you get that. And you get like, did you achieve 100% of your goals today or only 50%? Well, if you're competitive like me, I want to see that 100%. It's like when people have the rings on their watch, right? Like you want to close all your rings. People get so obsessed with that kind of stuff. But if it's getting you closer to your goal and it's a healthy obsession, you can find there are different apps or even create it for yourself where it's almost a game to achieve each little step that you need that day or every little thing, and then go back to making sure that they're not such big tasks that you're feeling overwhelmed. You're not actually achieving it each day. I did that initially with my habit tracker. I had so much in there, it was nearly impossible for me to get it every day that I started to mentally check out and I wasn't using it anymore. So I had to go back, take out the things that weren't priority to really set myself up for success so I could get some more 100% every single day, and then can slowly add in other things. Once the routines become habits, become second nature, become mindless, then there's time and space for additional goals and efforts and energy. That's the beautiful thing about discipline. It actually allows for more things to happen in your life. Go with that. I'm telling you. Setbacks are inevitable. Okay. I did a whole episode really about this, kind of around manifesting, but the idea is about facing setbacks and what to do when you get thrown off course, and know that that's not the end. I heard somebody say the other day, I really liked it. I wish I could quote it directly, but it was something like, let's say you come this far, you're working toward a goal and you get this far and all of a sudden you fall off or you stop or life happens and you don't get to start on that goal for another 8 months down the road. And the idea is not that you're starting over, because you're not starting over, because you already had the experience of the first round. You may not be picking up exactly where you left off, but you still had the experience and knowledge from where you left off. So the same thing comes when we face setbacks or we get thrown off. They're not failures, they're opportunities to adapt, to learn, and then get back on track, to reset goals. You know when this is the hardest? When you're working out good, you're eating well, and then you go on vacation. You go to Disney World. Or is it just me? Or you go on any kind of trip and then you get back and your body feels sluggish because you've been putting all this delicious, though slightly unhealthy, food in it. Maybe you've been laying around, drinking a little more booze, whatever it is. It's so hard to get back on that routine that was maybe consistent in second nature before you left, but you got to give yourself some grace. And then allow yourself, and if you have to, you bite off those small pieces again, right? Like maybe you're not going from 0 back to 100 again. Maybe you're going from 0 to 50, 0 to 60 the next week, 0 to 80, and then back at it. I felt this deeply after our last Disney trip because I had been so disciplined preparing for the state pageant. And then about a week after that, we went to Disney. I really let myself enjoy food, drinks. I didn't work out. I ran one day. We did a lot of walking. But when I came back, I felt very sluggish. My knees were hurting really bad. So I was like unable to run at shred. And first I was feeling kind of bad about myself. But then I was like, no, I'm going to give myself grace and then get back to it when I can. And surely enough, 2.5 weeks after that, I was back at it. So allow yourself to feel those moments, handle it how you need to, and then get back into the routine with those small. While discipline is important for achieving your goals, you also want to avoid burnout. And that means adding in intentional self care, rest, moments, breaks, so that you're not pushing yourself too hard and hitting a wall and just giving up on all of it. So, being able to recognize these signs of burnout, like fatigue, irritability, lack of enthusiasm, and then take proactive steps to address them so that you can keep going. I wanted to tap in and get your guys' thoughts and opinion and get your thoughts and opinions and how you stay disciplined. What is that like for you? What are some challenges that you face? And I got some good responses here. So we had, let's see here. So Sam came to me. She works at Shred. She shared this. She said, over the last 1.5 years, she's lost nearly 70 pounds and completely changed her lifestyle. That is huge. Wow. Congrats, girl. That included her eating habits and fitness routine, and discipline was huge for her. She said, she's a big routine person. It's about that routine. She said some of the easy routines that she has in place that have helped her reach her goal is she meal preps every Sunday. So she has that on her calendar. That is her day to meal prep. I love that. Setting aside a specific time where that's when I'm going to do my meal prepping is such a great way to maintain that, because it's just on your calendar, and she knows on Sundays she's going to do her meal prepping. She maps out her meals and snacks for as much as she can for the week. She crafts her grocery list around this and then does her grocery shopping Saturdays or early Sunday mornings before she starts that meal prep. So that's her routine. That's why she's able to maintain it. She maps out her workout plan for the week. Where is she going? When is she going? She signed up in advance for that accountability. She's got her clothes ready for the week and knows what days she needs to pack them. On the days she works out on her own at like a Crunch or Planet Fitness, she typically goes after work, and she takes her gym bag with her to work so she can go straight to work. That is such a big one. I know a lot of people who do that, where it's my husband as well. He's one a big one on that. If he is trying to go to the gym, he'll take his clothes with him to work, because if he comes home, he knows it's over. So such easy ways to implement routine and habit. Not fitness related, but just in general organization. She picks out her clothes for the week for work. So on Sundays, she thinks of, so Sundays are really her day. So Sundays are her big day. Sundays are her prepare for the weekday. So not only does she meal prep or book her workout routine, she also starts to think about, what does she want to wear to work that week? What day is she going to wear? Can she clean up her apartment a little bit? So she's using that Sunday to set herself up for success for the week. I love that so much. And then what she does to avoid burnout, she refreshes her routine, incorporates different workouts. We talked about that, meal prep ideas, grocery shopping at different places in her usual spots. And she loves creating music and playlists. So love such great routine steps, ideas for that discipline. Lindsay shared with us that she has a really solid routine once work starts and busy life begins again. She's a teacher. She avoids burnout by intentionally not packing so much on the schedule. Ooh, I love that tip, because I am a yes person, so I will just load up my schedule. But Lindsay says she schedules intentional workouts, runs, and downtime. Have you ever put downtime on your schedule? That can be such a great discipline and routine to create the balance in your life that you truly need. Yes, 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 yes. On Sundays, during the school year, she likes to take Sundays to not set an alarm clock, to keep it slow. So that's such a good burnout tool, right? So if she's very regimented with workouts or waking up early during the week, she has it blocked on her calendar, or she knows on Sundays she gets to sleep in. She's going to have a slow morning. Beautiful tip. So good. I need to incorporate some of these. Maddie shared that she's a list person. So once she has a Post-it note and a pen, and she makes a list of all the 3 biggest tasks that she needs to get done that day, and then crosses them off as we get done. I'm such a lift person. I'm such a list person myself. If she doesn't get enough sleep, she's exhausted and she struggles with the discipline. So the importance of sleep, but it's easy to beat yourself up for not being disciplined. So she meets her body where it's at. So I think that that's really good. It's that fine balance of knowing for a fact that you're facing burnout and you are tired and you need that rest versus giving yourself that excuse every single day. So that's where you have to find your discipline and say, today the priority is sleep, but tomorrow we're right back on the routine again. So I love that. I do believe that when we get overly stressed or overly worked, we talked about this, that idea of burnout fatigue can set in. So intentional rest. We can go back to Lindsay's tips. Are you scheduling rest for yourself and breaks throughout the week? To avoid burnout, Maddie said that she switches things up with her Post-it note list. She'll use different fun pens and colors. That's so much fun. If she gets off of her routine, it's not the end of the world. She reminds herself why she's doing the routine. It comes back to that why. What is that end goal? And it reignites the fire. So that's the biggest thing, right? When we talk about moving past that initial excitement and motivation, we have then the hard work, the brunt work that goes into getting us towards that goal. Where we want to quit, we want to give up, we want to tap out of a routine, we start to lose the discipline, we come back to the why. Why did you start in the first place? I have a shirt that Cycle Bar sold nationally. It was very fun. They took quotes from the senior master instructors and they printed them on t-shirts and they sold them at Cycle Bar Studios around the country. Very, very cool. And my shirt from the Samantha Redden shirt says, remember why you started. Remember why you embarked on this journey. Remember what it's going to mean to you. Remember what it's going to feel like when you get to the end. When you want to tap out, when you want to quit, when you want to fall off that routine or give up, you remember why you started. That's all I got for you today. I hope you have a really great day because you deserve it.